It's Friday, it's 4 o'clock, I've lost my voice. Sound a bit like Mariella Fostrop, but anyway. How are you? Hope you're well, better than me, clearly. That's mainly because of a trip to Madrid, I think that's where it's gone wrong. Shout out this week to Pree's parents. They're in America, having a nice time in New York, where their daughter was, and all she came back with, Mr. and Mrs. Shrestha, was a shitty bag of chocolates. That's all we got. Guys, we were disappointed, weren't we? Yeah. Shut up, Johnny. Anyway, but she had a good time in New York and hope they're having a lovely time there as well. We've got an unusual week this week because Pree's back, obviously. And, you know, normally I'd start with the heavyweight stories, but she's nicked them all off me. So instead, I've got things that are quite interesting, thanks to Mr. Bairstow. And here's our first one. So, Saynos, or Sainsbury's to you and me, is going to become the first company, grocers, to deliver by e-bike. That's right, electric bikes. 5 will be placed in the store in Streatham, and they'll be operating 100 orders a day. That's a lot of cycling. So they're going to see if they can use this as a way of delivering in cities. The reason is they obviously say that obviously if you're trying to get goods out in tight small towns, all of that sort of stuff, then what you have a problem with is getting vehicles parked. You've seen those vans, we've all seen them. They're a pain in the butt nearly. So actually if people can go around with a little electric bike and then just go and do the delivery, what does it matter? It's great. I think it's a really good idea. Also, I think it should be better if they're actually on bikes. Bit easy, isn't it, having an electric bike, but hey. So they're doing 5 in Streatham as a trial, and if this works then they will try and expand it to other cities. So fair play to them, good pedal power, pedal to their metal, not bad. Yes, thank you Alex for that laugh. But that's I think that's really good, and we should see more retailers doing that. The next story is, I don't know where Jonathan got this anyway. So the next story is also about retail, and this is about curtain and blind seller Hillary's. And what they're saying is they're going to make, or looking into making, emissions-proof curtains. Oh yes, you'll be able to see the graphics here. So the idea is you have a curtain. We all live in really polluted cities, as we all know. We've done a story this week about, I don't know, how many people are living in air pollution? Was it a quarter of the world or something? I can't remember. Yeah. Something like that. Brie will tell you later. Anyway, loads of us living daily with air pollution. Certainly got it in London, certainly got it in all the major cities. So what they're saying is you have a curtain coated with these nanoparticles, and they seem to trap the emissions. They use sunlight to break down into radicals which bind with these pollutants and make it all safe. It's certainly a long way off, but as a kind of idea, I think it's quite intriguing, because you never think about that, do you? But I mean, if you can get something that actually blocks the stuff coming into your properties, why not? So it's one of those things that, are they just researching it, John? Is that right? They're just looking into it right now?
Yeah, they're researching it, but the chemical to be able to do it does exist.
So the chemical to do it does exist?
Getting it to stick on a curtain.
Okay, all right. So if it happens, run down and get some. They'll come in loads of lovely patterns, especially for Johnny, little Harry Potter ones. Match his eyes. And then finally, this is a great video. We don't get very religious, but Spiritus Sanctus on this point. Look at this. Here's the Pope blessing an EV. This is great. So you know the Pope's always travelling around in his Pope-mobile, but he was in the Vatican City, where they're holding Formula E. We've covered that a couple of years ago in London. And he blessed an electric racing car. Well, he blessed all of them. It certainly worked, because Brit Sam Bird was among the drivers that got a blessing, and he came first. Divine intervention. What more can you ask? So I thought that was quite interesting. Got nothing to do with energy really, but why not? It's quite a good one. More stories later, serious news stories with Pree. But first, this week's Viewpoint. Now this week, Rob and I went to Madrid. We were invited there by Rosatom, and it was really hot. Though the first day wasn't that hot, was it, Rob? It was about 20 degrees. But the young man did get sunburned. So I've got a claim in now against me for that. But hey, that's the way it goes. The reason we were there was to talk to Rosatom about a couple of things. One, they were at a conference looking at closed cycles for nuclear power, so reusing the fuel. And the other thing is they were working with National Geographic to launch a series of documentaries looking at climate change. And obviously their pitch for it, while they're sponsoring it, is that they say that nuclear power, whatever you may think of it, is, you know, carbon free and good for the planet. So that's part of it. But while we were there, I caught up with the CEO of Rosatom in Europe, Andrei Rozdetskin. And Andrei was, to be honest, really, really open. Forget what's going on in the world of politics, and we'll be bringing you some of my discussion with him where we address those things. You know, whether we're coming into a new Cold War, who knows? That's not for us to discuss. What is to discuss is where nuclear energy is, how it's growing, and obviously Rosatom is one of the world's biggest nuclear players. I mean, they're huge. They're in 32 countries, and they've got loads of reactors working of a specific type. So I had a long-ranging chat with him where we discussed not just Russian politics, the way nuclear is perceived, how he thinks the UK market is doing, where nuclear power will go, but also very importantly, the culture. And one of the things we discussed is, having been in the Soviet era, obviously people who are old enough will remember Chernobyl, the Chernobyl disaster of 1986 in Kiev. You know, nuclear power had a very, very bad reputation after that. And in particular in Soviet Russia, you'd think what happens is the government says, you know, we're going to build something and accept it. Is that the case now in modern Russia? You know, that was then. Is the culture different? I asked him that, and I asked him what he thought about how nuclear power needs to, you know, convince the public of its pros and also giving them full information. Here's what he said. We have a lot of issues with, you know, the fact that public don't like nuclear. Yeah. They accept it. The same thing. You know, in Hinkley, where we're building this plant, you know, the local economy, it wants the plant. People like the fact that it gives jobs, but there's a general feeling they don't want it. Our impression, and it could be completely wrong, is that in Russia, if the government decides they're building a plant here, the people have to accept it. But you're saying that's not the case.
After the Soviet changes, nuclear wasn't extremely popular, I would say. And we decided to start communication and explain people what are the benefits in terms of economy, in terms of energy, in terms of technologies, in terms of everything. And after several years, you know, we saw some results. So public acceptance, that's the key to the successful project. And can you imagine, you know, we decided to build a plant. The public is not agree. You build the plant, public is waiting for that. Finally, plant is built, and then they starting, you know, to block it. The worst case scenario, you have a plant which is not working.
And a lot of investment that's not worked.
Yeah. So public is the key.
So you could say, oh yeah, that's just a bit of propaganda, that's a PR line. I have to say, genuinely, I thought he was very open. You know, I asked him fairly heavyweight questions and direct questions, and you'll be able to see that on our website coming up over the next week or two. And maybe he's right, you know, that's the way it is. You know, if you do communicate with the public, they can make a rational choice. And if, you know, a former, you know, Soviet doctrine has gone, modern Russia is trying to communicate with people, why not? I mean, we've certainly found them to be a lot more open than I expected, but there's no doubt there's lots of opposition still to the whole nuclear industry, and a lot of opposition into what Rosatom is doing, in particular some of the partner states that it works with. But from my point of view, I think this is a really interesting dialogue to have, and in particular in this time where we seem to be closing around and closing off from each other, a dialogue is a very important thing. So you'll be able to see much more of that interview with Andrei, plus our report from Madrid over the next week. Let us know what you think. Email me, obviously use the hashtag, and give us your views on what you think about nuclear energy in general, and also what Rosatom is up to. Now, she's been promoted to bring you the proper news. It's the Hack Hutch.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Shall I hold it for you? Because I know you don't like that.
Yeah, I like to move my hands.
How was New York? Apart
Very
from
good.
the crap chocolates you bought me?
Crap.
Yeah.
It was good.
No,
You
I
don't
know.
find those chocolates here everywhere, so.
No, it's fine. Do you want to say hello to Mum and Dad?
Hi, Mum and Dad. Hope you're having fun. Before we start, I actually wanted to say I was on holiday. Not
Yes.
you. You were meant to be in Madrid working.
I wasn't
right?
on holiday.
But it
I was
seemed like
working.
you were on holiday drinking, so that's why the voice
No,
is
that's
nearly
not true.
disappeared.
Robert, did
So
we
I
drink
don't know
lots?
what they've
We
been
didn't.
doing in Madrid.
No, we didn't drink lots at all.
Well, that's
My
not proof
rheumatologist
it.
watching? No, I didn't. One glass. Anyway,
Okay, so
price rises we start
yes,
with.
first up, the Scottish Power has become the third Big Six supplier to increase prices for its customers, and it's going to affect about 960,000 of its
Okay,
customers.
right.
And that's a 5.5% increase. It's going to come into effect on June the 1st this year,
Okay.
and it's going to add about £63 a year to the dual fuel annual bills.
It's
of
all
gas
the
and
same. They're all
electricity.
roughly at the same level, aren't they?
I think British Gas was the same, 5.5, but EDF was, I think, 2 point something.
It was 2.7,
Yeah, so
but
was it-
as I did last week, you missed it.
Okay.
In
What
the
was
average
that?
customer cost, it was roughly
It was
the same.
the same. Okay.
So there's
Fair
not much
enough.
to say really, is
Nope.
on that.
That
Okay.
was expected anyways, and we expect the rest of the companies to follow.
But wasn't expected, especially in the heat wave, is
No, is the coal
coal.
generation. So the UK was coal free for nearly 55 hours straight this week. And I say nearly 55 because it was 5 minutes short of being 55 minutes. And that was that means there was no production between 10:25 p.m. on Monday night to 5:20 a.m. yesterday. So that's over
Wow.
2 days.
No, that's true.
The previous record was about 40 hours last October. But what National Grid has said, although this news might be of good news, it might be great news for environmentalists, National Grid said that coal is going to be an important source of as the UK transitions to a low carbon economy.
Yeah,
so
well, and,
we
you know,
will have coal.
Yeah, and we had it in the reserve as well, so
Mm.
that's fine. But that's interesting, 55 hours.
Yep, 55.
Normally how long Johnny takes to write a story, isn't it?
No comment.
No comment. She's
No,
so nice.
no, Johnny does well.
God, wow. God. Anyway, what did you pay her? What did you pay her?
I said I liked her chocolate.
Yeah, you know, you guys see, that's it.
We help each other out.
The only
All
one.
right, be quiet, Jonathan. Right, go on. then.
Next one is the Prime Minister. So Theresa May has said that the government will ban plastic straws, stirrers, and cotton buds.
How are we going to clean our fingers? In our ears anymore? They're saying we're going to do
No,
ears
you-
and fingers?
One for years.
Yeah, she's the same one, absolutely.
That's what Johnny does anyway, apparently.
Good stuff.
Yes,
Let's get rid
very
of
good.
straws. Why do adults need straws? Why the hell?
That is true. No, you can have you can now buy those metal straws that you can reuse now.
Yeah, but they'd
so
be like a
hopefully
little
there'll be an increase.
stabby
I like
weapons.
straws, so I'll try not to use the plastic ones.
Okay, fine.
But this will come into effect only after a consultation that's
Obviously.
scheduled for later this year. And apparently, 8.5 billion plastic straws are thrown away in the UK every year.
And they end up in
the oceans.
in a nostril of a tortoise, a sea
Yeah.
turtle.
And it obviously damages the environment and ends up killing
I
lots
have to
of
say though,
mammals.
on the plastic thing, isn't it gone bonkers? Literally since we
Yeah.
saw a turtle,
film.
yeah, since Blue Planet. Well
and
done.
the whale, the little whale,
And the whale,
baby whale,
yeah, the baby
yes. I
whale.
think
Well
that's the one.
done, Lord of all, Attenborough.
Yep.
Because without him, this wouldn't have happened.
No, I don't think so.
And now
I mean,
because
it's
there's the
gaining
Commonwealth,
momentum.
yeah, but the Commonwealth heads of state are meeting right now in London, and they're discussing plastic. It's become a really
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
big topic.
Yeah, and the government has also launched this new initiative where it's calling on other countries, Commonwealth countries, to join this alliance to basically move on to tackle plastic waste and reduce and recycle them before it actually goes into the oceans. So
Okay,
good
good
start.
stuff.
Next one is on the plastic waste stuff. It's about litter. And a survey has found of 3,000 people that although most people hate litter,
Yes.
94 of them are too nervous to confront someone if they see them throwing something on the floor.
Oh.
What do you do? Would you
Yeah.
stop someone?
Of course I do.
Really?
I get in trouble for
Or
it
are
as
you
well.
one who throws the litter on the
No,
floor?
no, no. The only rubbish I've got in the office is
Johnny is smirking in the corner.
Yeah, Johnny
so he
is
might have
smirking.
seen you.
Johnny will be there. No, I think you should confront people. I did it. I said to a woman who dropped a box, she'd got a perfume out, she's walking on the street. I said, what have you dropped that for? She said, I don't need it. I said, well, it doesn't need to be there, does it?
I mean,
And then
I
she
would,
gave me a mouthful.
yeah, I would tell,
And then I gave her a
I
mouthful
would
back.
tell someone not to, but it would depend on who the person is. Like if I
You-
see a
you'd
very
be standing
dodgy,
behind Alex when you said that, wouldn't you? That'd be it.
Yeah, that
Get
is
Big Al to
true.
do it for you.
Apparently 3%,
Yes.
3% of these people who
Yes.
were surveyed, they were confronted. And some of the reasons they
Let me
said
say
they
this, I
wouldn't-
wouldn't confront someone who's hard.
Exactly,
Right,
that's my
exactly.
point.
Someone who's like sort of small and not, difficult to
Those
handle.
people who said, so the 94% of people who said they won't confront someone,
Yes.
the reasons they gave were so they're not beaten up.
Yes, fair enough. That was a good one.
That'll be my reason. And some of them said it's not their problem,
Oh, it's everyone's problem.
which is such a shame.
Yeah, Alex, that's not fair, is it?
No.
Yeah. It's
Apparently
our problem.
12% have had rude comments, and you were the one of the 12%.
I've given a few back as well, but
and,
yes.
And 1% has been physically assaulted.
No, not yet. Been assaulted for other things, but not that.
However,
God, this
31%.
is going on now, yes.
This is interesting. However,
How many stats have you got in this one?
31% said they would drop litter
Yes.
if there was no bin and no one was looking.
Hell yeah.
I'm against that.
Outrageous, Bairstow.
In the bush.
Chuck it in a bush.
Oxalate.
How's a fox going to eat a plastic straw, you fool?
We'll try.
And the rest said they would take it home or find a bin, and I would say I'm one of those.
Excellent.
Let us know what you would do. Send us your comments with the hashtag #ShortFuse. And if you've got any stories for us, you can send it over to stories@energylivenews.com. And hope you enjoy the sunshine this weekend.
See, she's such a professional.
See you later.
Goodbye. Amazing. Amazing. And don't drop litter, even if you see Johnny Bairstow. Actually, you can smack Johnny one. He won't mind, will you? He'll be up for that, won't you, Jonas? Always up for a fight, absolutely. Right, okay, so a couple of things I want to talk about. Obviously, Energy Live Future is coming up. We've been busy inviting people, and I know a lot of you have come back to us. What I'd like to do is make sure that you know that there's plenty of great content for you on that day. So we're talking about how we are going to fund our energy future. We'll be talking about decentralization of power. We'll be talking about whether suppliers will exist. We'll be talking about electric vehicles and energy storage. And we'll be talking about going to Mars and what that has to do with how energy science might go in the future. And here's the invitation from our headline speaker, Bas Lansdorp.
Hello, I'm Bas Lansdorp. I'm CEO and co-founder of Mars One. I'll be speaking at Energy Live Future in June in London, and I hope you will be there. I'll be speaking about Mars, about why we should go there, how we will go there, about how we will get energy on Mars. It's going to be an exciting event. Join us.
So really, he's a cracking speaker. Make sure if you're a major energy user, you go and get yourself registered for this event. You can go and do it on the website, or you can send an email to Jeff or Freddie. Easy to do, and we'd really like to see you all there. We've got about, I think, 70 places left, so which is not bad. We've got rid of most of them, but you know, this is an event you shouldn't miss, particularly about not just the sort of highbrow stuff about Mars, but technology that could help you with your job right now. So if you're a major energy user, please come along. Some other dates for your diary. So obviously, as I said, the 7th of June is for Energy Live Future. And then on the 28th of June is Telca. Now, a quick announcement. Monday is the deadline day for Telca. All right, we've had a lot of entries in, but I know what you lot are like. It's like the taxis, isn't it? Brokers out there. You wait till the 31st of Jan, it's the same. So 23rd of April, this Monday, by 5 o'clock, we need your entries. So make sure you do that. You can enter directly through the website. If you've got any issues, just call the office. But please make sure you get your entries in by Monday. And the event, of course, takes place on the 28th of June. And then towards the end of the year, on the 31st, on Halloween night, we have Expo coming up, which will be cracking. Right, that is about it. Except, oh dear, All right, and finally this week, I'm not going to do shout outs because we've got something else for you. So, we've had the little Ginger Stasi going on for ages, bossing the people in the company about how he's going to run this marathon, right? So he said, oh, I'm going to run the marathon. We're like, yeah, whatever. And he keeps going on, oh, I've hurt my toe, whatever. So, you know what he's like. He's desperate for his publicity. So please, will you welcome the running elf? Running elf. Running elf. Here he is.
Hello.
You've actually got your name on it.
Yes, because I forget it when I get near the end. I'm 26 miles in.
There we
4
go.
hours
Right,
of
so
running.
tell us how it's been going, first of all.
Yeah, good. Yeah, really good.
You've bored everyone in the office for ages.
Everyone's so fed up with me talking about this.
Aren't we?
So fed
We
up.
are
with me
so
talking
fed up
about
with
this.
it. But let's talk about the proper reason. Why are you running for cancer research? Tell us.
In memory of both my parents,
Yes.
who unfortunately have passed away from the disease.
Yeah.
And I thought, what can I do that's massive and painful and people sponsor me lots of
Most
money
people
for?
could just
so-
give them money, Freddie. But why are you
Yeah.
putting yourself through this hell to do it?
Because it sounded like a good idea last year when I was hungover on the Sunday after the marathon. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to do that next year. And then I signed up that Monday. And then lo and behold, a year later, I'm running it.
Excellent. But you've been, not just you've signed up, and obviously we know about your mum and dad, but you've actually been finding out where the money goes, haven't you? Where have you been going?
Yeah,
Tell
so
us
I
something
went
about
to the Francis Crick Institute down at King's Cross for the afternoon.
that. Who's Francis Crick?
He discovered, one of the people who discovered the DNA
Well done.
in a pub in Cambridge is where they announced it.
Correct.
Which I've actually been to as well.
And who's the other man?
Oh,
Started for 10, anyone?
no. don't know
No,
it.
pre. Oh, God. Rob will know. James Watson. Yeah? Francis Crick, James Watson. James Watson was played by, in a very good documentary, Jeff Goldblum. I know all this weird stuff. Anyway, irrelevant.
Yeah.
What do you think of what you saw?
Really interesting, actually. Went way over my head. It's all being done, all the tests have been done on fruit flies
Ah,
because they don't feel pain, apparently.
Drosophila. It's true.
Yeah, so that's all the testing is going. It's like a 8-story building,
Yeah.
1,500 people in there,
My God.
all studying cancer. So, yeah, really interesting.
And so your money that's going, we'll put up. We got the little strap. We'll put it up there. But it's very weird to find. Is it on the cancer research page to donate?
It's like their version of Just Giving.
Okay.
So you
So what do you look for then?
You can
if
go
you
on
Google
there and
it?
you can search Freddie Rand and I should appear.
Okay. So go onto cancer research. Type in running elf.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Exactly that.
And then-
running elf. Yeah, exactly.
That'll be it. But do give generously. And look, we are not averse to giving a bit of money. Right? We thought a $5 was a lot. But seeing he's doing it, there you go. That's our contribution.
Oh, thank you
Don't
so
say
much.
we don't give you enough.
I'll tuck that in.
All seriousness, how are you going to feel Sunday morning on the starting line? You've done a
I'm
lot running.
already nervous
Yeah.
already.
No, come on.
Yeah. No, I think it'll be good.
Yeah.
40,000 people is a lot of people though, so yeah, I think it'll be good. I'm
He loves an
excited.
audience.
I'm excited.
I bet you're going to be stopped. You'll be the one that stop when they're running along going, hey, Freddie, tell us
I'm
what
going
you're
to be the
doing.
guy who high-fives everybody on the side as they run fast.
Yeah, take your shirt off at the end, do a Ronaldo or something.
I could do actually, yeah.
Take it off at the stern line, just do that. Just give it
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do exactly that.
Excellent. And you'll be in on Monday, won't you? Really sharp. No.
No, I've got a day off.
Well, what can we say? Do we think he's going to make it, guys?
Probably, yeah.
Probably.
Thanks, Johnny. Thanks, Johnny.
We're betting on him. Do give. It's a fantastic cause. So do give it. And it's there. And also look for him on the cancer research version of Just Giving. Yes, their
Yes,
own page.
yeah.
And look for Freddie Rand. Good luck, boy.
Thank you.
Take the money. Don't spend it
will.
on drugs.
I won't.
Unless they're cancer drugs. Right. That's it. Hope you had a good show. Hope you enjoyed it. Enjoy the weather. Good luck to Freddie. We'll try and bring you some coverage of his his successful attempt at running the marathon. We'll see you again next week.